Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk, and I got to tell you, I just seconds ago, I changed the thumbnail and the title of my main YouTube video here because I just changed my mind just a few minutes ago on what I wanted to open with and what the lead was going to be for the day. And sometimes you got to do it. It's just, I'm really pissed off, really, at Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I think a lot of people are probably ticked off at her for very good reason. And by the way, I'm using a brand new mic for the mainstream today. It's a DJI mini mic, brand new mic. I used this on a vlog over the weekend, where the one where they billed me for the tip. But it's the first time I've used it on the live stream, so the noise canceling's a little bit better. So you should actually hear me better than you normally would when I'm at the radio station. All right, here we go.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian.
Alrighty, it is Thursday already. Can you believe it? My name is Brian Craig, and well, yeah, it's Thursday because most people had Monday off, right? So it's a short week. Tomorrow will be Friday already. Holy smokes! It's Thursday morning. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Celebrating 49 years on the radio. And it's nice to hear that all the sounders and rejoiners have been updated for the 49th year. Oh my goodness. Wait till we get to the big 5-0. All right, we got a lot to cover. And, this was, I had a story that I was going to lead with today, which I'll get to later. And, in the mornings, those of you that follow me on YouTube, which you all should, Brian Craig Show on YouTube. If you're not following me there, you're missing out because I do shows there all the time, including an afternoon show, an early show. I go late on the radio show, my podcast I do live, and everything else. But I'm driving into the radio station this morning, and I'm live streaming on YouTube talking about some of the things that I'm going to be talking about. And what happens on occasion is, I get up, I do my show prep and everything, and I see what I think is the lead story. And then I'm talking on my YouTube live stream on the way in the morning about something that's going on, and it's the first time I'm verbalizing for the day, my thoughts. I know it seems kind of weird, but I do, And I was talking about what Marjorie Taylor Greene did yesterday at this press conference. And the more I was talking about it, the more aggravated I was getting at Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I don't know, just a couple of minutes before showtime, I decided I was going to change the lead story what I was going to open with. I was going to talk about the victims' press conference yesterday, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Massey. I was going to do it later in the show and lead with something else. But I decided I had to change it, and on YouTube I changed. I have to put a thumbnail and a title on YouTube right, before the show starts. I changed it just a couple minutes ago, to reflect what I want to talk about, and it's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And one thing I've told you guys many, many times is Laura Loomer is always right. I learned that the hard way because Loomer was the first one to report that Ron DeSantis was going to betray Trump. And I didn't believe her, and I questioned it, even on the air, and then she was right. And I told Loomer, I said, I'll never question you again. And if you follow Laura Loomer, she has a 100% accuracy rate on all of her reporting. And she has really exposed some things with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And we're going to talk about her and Massey today in the victims' press conference. Now, I want to say this out the gate. I watched the press conference yesterday, and I believe the victims in their stories. Okay, this is not about them. I do believe the victims. Some of them are severely traumatized. You could see it. Okay? I mean, you could see it that they were traumatized, right? Could you not tell? And I do have some thoughts on what they said. Now the victims, by the way, they were interviewed on NBC News as a group prior to the press conference. And I'll play this later. But the interviewer said, did any of you witness President Trump doing anything inappropriate? All of them said in unison, no. And then the NBC interviewer asked them if they witnessed President Clinton doing anything inappropriate. And all of them said in unison, no. So the victims that we saw in the press conference yesterday, both, I hate to use the word cleared, but, cleared President Trump and President Clinton of any perversion, misconduct, okay? Not that people are going to report that part about Trump because, haters are going to hate. I really didn't understand what the point of the press conference was when it was going on. Not only did the victims, as they're demanding everyone release names, they didn't release any names. Their lawyer said that there's no list. And during the press conference, they and the lawyer said that they were going to put together a list. And then later in the day, and it's being reported this morning, their lawyer said they will not be putting together a list. Okay, so that's that. I mean, I don't know how they can... When they are the witnesses, they know who the guys were, at least a lot of them, and I'm sure they've been following and researching and have identified people whose names they may not have known. If they won't release the names of the people that victimized them, how can they be angry at others for not releasing names when their own lawyer said there is no list? The list is a myth. That's what their lawyer said yesterday. There's no list. So I was lost as to the purpose of the press conference. And then Loomer started posting on X, and then it all started to make sense. And I'll tell you first about Massey, who's a lowlife, traitor. Massey. We all agree on that, right? So some people with more resources than I have, because I have no resource. I have no resource. But I don't have a team or any of that stuff that all these other guys have. But some conservatives have researched. Massey never said the word Epstein until like a few days ago. Now all of a sudden it's his passion in life. So why is Massey doing this? Well, Massey's doing this because President Trump was going to primary him out of office. Remember that? Massey wasn't supporting the big, beautiful bill, and President Trump came out and said he was going to primary him out, endorse an opponent in the primary. Then all of a sudden, Massey started talking about Epstein all the time. So, I mean, that's a fact. Now, Loomer said a lot, but one of the, and her and Marjorie Taylor Greene don't like each other, okay? I know they were friends briefly long ago, but they don't like each other. And Loomer said something on X yesterday that explains Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene, if you remember, wanted to run for the Senate. She wants out of the House. She wants to be in the Senate. She's not getting the president's endorsement for the Senate and or for the governor's race in Georgia. And Loomer said, among a lot of things that Loomer said, Marjorie Taylor Greene's angry about that. That's it. She's angry about that. So to me, it looks like, and a lot of times when people get angry at someone and something and about something, it totally Massey is in survival mode. Okay, Massey's in total survival mode, no doubt about it, because so he's trying to weaken Trump's endorsement of an opponent. In fact, I saw an interview. I may play some of this later, I may not. I don't know, but I saw an interview with Massey yesterday on X, the clip of it, and he said, he has 2 or 3 opponents. I think he said he's got 3 opponents in the primary. It might have been 2, but I think he said 3, and one of them's on the Epstein list. Well, wait a minute. You were just at a press conference. The victim's lawyer said, he said one of them is in Epstein's black book. That's not a list. That's the black book. What does that mean? How many people, you in the listening audience, how many people have your name and phone number in their phone book, on their phone? Do you know everyone that has? I made a mistake once that I've not been able to correct years ago. I connected my cloud contacts in my phone book to my Facebook followers. I have about 50,000 numbers in my phone book on my iPhone. I don't know how that happened. I've not been able to fix it. I don't know who those people are. But how many people have your name and number in their phone book on their phone? What does that even mean if you're in that phone book? And by the way, you probably don't know everyone who has you in their phone book on their phone. What does that mean, right? So Massey, I have 3 primary opponents. One of them's in Epstein's black book. Didn't say list, he said black book. And that's what President Trump's talking about, right? That political people in D.C. use this as a weapon against people to discount people, like Massey's doing with one of his primary opponents. So I want to ask you a question, and if you're on hold, hang in there, and we got better keep. Is a delay on, Mike? If you want to double check, you mentioned Epstein, and you know what happens. All these creepy weirdos call in. I'm of the belief that if you are, see, Mike's double checking now. Yeah, you ready to double check? Yeah, the delay is on. The delay is on. We'll take calls after the break. Oh my goodness. If you are undermining Trump in any way, shape, or form, I don't believe you're MAGA. So my question is, at this point, is Marjorie Taylor, forget about Massey, we know what he is, lowlife. But, if you heard me interview last year, I had Marjorie Taylor Greene on the program, I got her book, and I interviewed her. That was the most suck-up interview you probably ever heard. I was praising her for the whole thing. I was excited. Because I always have loved her. Until now. So here's my question. Is Marjorie Taylor Greene truly MAGA? Can you be MAGA if you're undermining President Trump? I don't think so. All right. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. We've been going not overtime. We've been going quadruple time on the dump button in the last few months. And I know, Mike, have you hurt your finger yet on the dump button? When Dr. Appleton rid me of arthritis pain, it was my right index finger, and it's the finger I use for the dump button, right? So I know all of you terrible people out there over the years, you got a little bit of revenge. You gave me the arthritis, but you know what? Dr. Appleton's laser away pain treatment rid me of that arthritis. And I got to tell you something. Arthritis, I've suffered a lot of pains in my life. Arthritis was really the worst. And I've talked to a lot of our listeners that have also gone to see Dr. Appleton, and he's rid them of arthritis pain in all kinds of different parts of the body. I talked to 2 listeners. One of them's Gary that goes on our cruises, and another listener recently that had arthritis in their neck. And I'm here to tell you, when I had it in my finger, I was almost in tears. I really was. But I have no arthritis pain, and Dr. Appleton treated me for that. It had to be about a year ago or close to it. So not only did he rid me of my arthritis pain with his laser away pain treatment, no surgery, no drugs, but it hasn't returned. Isn't that something? It's absolutely amazing, and I can dump all day, boom, 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 with all your dirty talk, and it doesn't hurt. I was starting to have to use a different finger for the dump button because I had so much arthritis. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain too. right? Remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, stand by, guys. So those of you in the mainstream, the one with the thumbnail in it, I'm using a new mic today. It's a DJI Mini, and because my old one was it's on its last leg.
My name is Dr. Philip Appleton. Over the years, I've treated thousands and thousands of patients.
But if you're on hold, stand by. We will take the calls.
Surgery, pre-surgery, herniated disc, gout.
Am I being too hard on Marjorie Taylor Greene? I don't think so.
Most likely, I've treated it over the years.
But you guys let me know what you think. I'm open to it.
Lasers. They're robots which rotates constantly around the area, where most lasers do not do that. So, if you want to come in for a free consultation, as always here, welcome at Appleton Chiropractic. I'm here 6 days a week. I personally do all the treatment. You can bring your MRIs, you can bring your X-rays, you can bring your CAT scans, whatever you have. Bring.
And this mic should be a little. I only use this mic when I'm here at the radio station or if I'm vlogging. But you should hear me pretty good with it, and it should be a little rich. And the noise cancellation is much better. So I don't know if you can you in this feed here, can you hear the fan as much as you would normally in the radio studio? But it's so tiny. The other, I wanted to get this one for a while, but I didn't want to buy it until I needed to. So my other one wasn't holding a charge anymore. And this one's so light. The other one was like weighing down my shirt. Yeah, I think she stepped out of line too. I am plenty pissed at Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm here to tell you. Plenty pissed. Welcome. If you're new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe. So let me know in the chat, yes or no, is Marjorie Taylor Greene betraying Trump? Is she betraying Trump? Yes or no? Fair question. Yeah, I think it's a fair question. Call me on the air. Let me know what you think.
Turn over to them, and it'll make it so much easier for them, and it took a great load off of my mind as to how I would take care of my two daughters. I was very pleased with the attorney, Barry Siegel, finding him to me ensure that my two daughters will be well.
It's the air conditioner. It causes my sinuses.
Give attorney Barry Siegel a call right now. Toll free 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, Harrison Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All righty, we're back. I'm Brian. If you're on hold, stand by. So the question is Marjorie Taylor Greene betraying President Trump? I say yes. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, well, let's hear what the jury of public opinion has to say. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. This is Richie. I think I've got the answer to everything here. Okay, I think first.
Well, I don't know if I want the answer to everything. 21 minutes into a 3-hour show, but that's okay. Go ahead. That I still have 2 hours and 39 minutes to go, Richie. So let's not answer everything. No, I'm kidding. I don't care.
Well, I know you. Marjorie Taylor Greene is she's self-interest and she's not MAGA. She's going against Trump. The victims, all right? They had that major press conference in front of the world yesterday. Let me tell you something. If I was a victim of these people, and they're not kids anymore, they're in their mid-30s or whatever, some 40s, I would open up my mouth and name names right there. If you're telling the truth, you can name the names, and you're safe, because you're basically, if you're going to be sued for defamation.
Well, if they sat down together and put a list, they'd have a lot of the same names, right? So they'd be, and no one's going to go after a group of victims like that. They would have so many protections, and I was very disappointed in them that they would not name names. And I'll tell you something. There was some things that they mentioned that they should be talking about. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene said at the end, one of them, he violated Jeffrey Epstein when he was on work release with a cop outside. I'd like to know, was that here in town? Was that a Palm Beach cop? Or I don't know where that was. But there's a lot of lower level people that aren't the richest, most powerful people in the world that they keep talking about that were accessories to it.
Yeah, well, here's the deal here. This is what I think has happened here. She's got sour grapes. The other guy that Trump was going to primary, okay, he's a dirtbag. But the fact is this: I don't trust the Democratic Party at all, and I think President Trump has seen something. I think President Trump sees. I think, and his administration knows, this is a very decent, honorable man. They keep on trashing him. They're the same people that had him in England doing all sorts of crazy stuff in a hotel, which was a lie. The Democratic Party had control over the Justice Department under Garland, and they could put anything they want into these records. Remember, they had control, and they could pull out anything. I think President Trump saw things in there about himself that
you just can't. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know about the Trump part, but yeah. And President Trump said that I don't believe that, because they would have released that. President Trump said that they've been adding things to it over the years. So, but the lawyer said yesterday, there is no list. The list is a myth.
But I almost guarantee you that this is all about getting Trump. I bet you if you ask any one of those women that were complaining about their childhood, how they got
one of them really pissed me off. That said Donald Trump was his biggest brag. His biggest brag was Donald. And then she says, I'm a Republican leader. Here's the thing about that. When all that was going on, okay. President Trump had the #1 show on television, The Apprentice and The Celebrity Apprentice. And he was promising these girls television stardom, movie stardom, modeling contracts, and he was a name dropper. Of course that would be a big brag, because he had the #1 highest rated show on NBC television at the time. It doesn't mean, what does that mean? As big as brag? What was that about?
Every one of them women are anti-Trump. This is all about get Trump. This has nothing to do about finding.
Well, the other thing, Richie, about Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday, and I was not aware of this, that Gloria Allred's involved with these victims, right? Gloria Allred, who's a creep, her daughter, I don't know, what's the feminine for creep? Creepette? I don't know. But her daughter, Lisa Bloom, was the one that was looking to pay anonymous Trump accusers during the presidential campaign. Remember that? So what's Marjorie Taylor Greene doing associating with Gloria Allred? Give me a break.
So the one she's also with the college kids that they said raped the girl, and they
Yeah.
Yeah. So in other words,
you're talking about the Duke lacrosse team, right?
That's right. Women are always right. They're never wrong. These women that got up there yesterday, it's a plot to go after Trump, and that's all it is. The Democrats sitting there. They had every news organization out there. They could have dropped names yesterday and been covered. They are full of.
Well, I got to tell you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, what she did was sucked, and then she went on. Yeah, go ahead.
One more question for you. Why is it that you got other Republican women in Congress right now? None of them are going along with this crap. I can understand the one that walked away crying because she was raped and she's a mental case. but I'm sorry to say it, she's mentally scarred over this. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing it for self, whatever you want to call it, and I just think it's disgusting. He's a garbage can, and Massey knows that. I think Massey knows there's things within that they're going to try to frame Trump. This is all about framing Trump.
All right, Richie, I'm gonna run. All right, take care. Okay, we've got one opening on the board where Richie was. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour, and we'll come back with your calls.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Don't you hate it when you buy something online and then you get slapped with
If you're on hold, hang in there.
charge at checkout? Not at mypillow.com. Right now, enjoy free shipping on all orders $100 or more when you use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at mypillow.com. This is your chance to stock up on unbeatable deals on everything site-wide. Soft sheets, cozy.
You know, I'm open to hear your thoughts on it. You know, and again, we're not. You know, we're specifically Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Order now at mypillow.com.
I mean, this is awful.
And use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, for free shipping.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 49 years on the air.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. So what we're talking about is Marjorie Taylor Greene. I believe she's betraying Trump. That makes her not MAGA. What is up? I mean, this is nuts. And she's going around with this holier than thou well, I'm true MAGA because of this. Let me tell you this. President Trump has stopped sexual exploitation and victimization of women more than any other individual who's ever lived. Shutting down the southern border as an example. All that sex slavery and trafficking, it's done. By the way, all the women that weren't sex trafficked in the United States but were assaulted on the way to the United States, you know, on the way here through Latin America, that's not happening now because those passageways are stopped. In his first term, he shut down Backpage, where all the website where all the sex traffickers were interviewing, or advertising prostitutes. There is not another individual alive who has stopped sexual abuse and sex trafficking more than Donald Trump has done in both of his terms, in particular the second term by shutting down the southern border. So for all these people out there that act like he's covering up for sex traffickers, he has saved I don't know how many women, children, and it can be men too, from being abused and being brought here and forced into a life of sexual servitude, sexual slavery. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Connor from California.
Yes, Connor.
So you're saying Marjorie Taylor Greene's not MAGA? I would have to disagree. I would say she's still MAGA.
Well, how can you oppose and undermine President Trump and be MAGA?
I don't know. Maybe he's just guilty. Matt Gaetz, and he's guilty too.
Really? I missed this. You mean, hold on a second. I follow the news very closely, but I don't catch everything. Are you telling me that Matt Gaetz was arrested, charged, tried, and convicted of some crimes? You said guilty. That's a court filing. What courtroom found him guilty? What courtroom found him guilty? What jury found him guilty?
The public.
Oh, the court of public opinion. All right, that means liberal jerks that don't like Matt Gaetz. Okay. You're on. Get your own lines, by the way. Don't use mine. I don't mean phone lines. I mean, laugh lines. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mitchell?
Okay. Mitchell. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Yeah. So, man, let me tell you something. I don't think that Marjorie Taylor Greene has anything bad, for MAGA or Thomas Massey as well. This is actually screwing us up, that you got me at a bad time.
Yeah, I know. You're in a bad cell zone. You sound a little electronic. I can hardly hear you cutting in and out.
Yeah, let me move over. Can you hear me now?
Okay, move over.
Yeah, I don't think that we should actually hate, Thomas Massey or Marjorie Taylor Greene. Thomas Massey is actually really a good guy.
Really, he opposed the big beautiful bill. That was Trump's whole campaign. How can you be a good guy and be MAGA and be a Republican and oppose the largest tax cuts in American history? I'm missing that.
Well, I'm against that. I wanted the big bill.
And we got it. We got it in spite of Massey.
Yeah. I think that's good, but it doesn't mean he's a bad guy, or...
Sure it does.
Do you think he's bad?
Yeah. He is not. Some people looked into this. Michael Knowles is one of them. They did some research into this. And Thomas Massey never mentioned the name Epstein all these years until recently, after President Trump said he was going to primary him out of office for his opposition to the big beautiful bill. So he doesn't care about this. He's just in this for survival mode for his seat.
So this is one of the things. I don't think we should talk about Epstein. Trump says we shouldn't talk about.
We're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's what we're talking about, not Epstein.
You like her, don't you?
I used to.
You don't anymore?
No.
Okay. So,
she's messing everything up.
Listen, if you don't, I don't. I'm
okay. All right. I appreciate the call. And I don't. That's a strange cat right there. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine, Brian.
Hey, Jeff. What's up?
When I think it was yesterday, with the Epstein victims, started talking about what Trump should be doing. It's one thing if you got the ear of the president and you do it privately, but you do it publicly, that's unacceptable. And I just learned that she actually called what Israel's doing in Gaza genocide. That is absurd. They are defending their citizens that were murdered and kidnapped, and some still kidnapped. And what has happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Well, I don't know. Maybe she's always been this way and we didn't know it, or listen, she lost support with a lot of conservatives when she cheated and left her husband for her boyfriend who left his wife for her, right? So a lot of conservatives were upset with her over that, her and Brian Glenn. And I've liked both of them over the years, but you know, that's you know, I don't know, but I do know this, that she has the ability to talk to President Trump in private, and she did something yesterday that really pissed me off. She was standing in front of people holding signs calling Trump all these terrible, deviant things that I'm not going to say. She didn't have to stand in front of those people. She could have stood anywhere. She could have moved and stood in front of the victim. So all of the footage of her, photographs and video, have these signs behind her that say the nastiest things you could imagine about President Trump, that some of these trolls say to me sometimes. And she had a lot of control there. She had a reporter removed from the press conference. If you saw, she said, "Get him out of here." The guy that wouldn't stop asking questions, get him out of here. So what, you know, and Laura Loomer said she's going to make sure the president sees the photograph of the people behind her and what the signs they were holding behind her. She's going to personally make sure the president sees it, the photo. So, you know, why did Marjorie Taylor Greene do that?
You know, it's absurd that the feud with Loomer and Greene went back to when Loomer was going to run against Daniel Webster, and Marjorie Taylor Greene said, "Go to another district where there's an open seat." Well,
what happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene, when the night that President Trump announced officially that he was running for re-election at Mar-a-Lago in the ballroom, he offered Laura Loomer a job that night in person, and Marjorie Taylor Greene intervened and somehow got him to withdraw the job offer that night. I know, because I know that for a fact. Okay, and yeah, I know. Now she's doing great work, Laura Loomer. Maybe she's better off, you know, being out on her own doing what she's doing and having like a private contact. But still, that's yeah, I couldn't believe. I mean, yeah, I know that is a fact. That is not, you know. So yeah, so you know, so they a lot of times, yeah,
look and upstage each other.
A lot of times women don't get along well in the workplace, and also I'm sure there's some cattiness involving Pam Bondi and Trump with Marjorie. Marjorie Taylor Greene obviously does not get along with other women.
Do you think she's more or less ended her
career? I don't know. I mean,
What about her influence with Trump? She had a strong influence. And Laura Loomer does. I still believe, and I think she's better off where she is. But I don't see how.
Well, the only way I can judge that, and I don't know if this is a good measure, but her boyfriend Brian Glenn he's with Real America's Voice, and he's in all the White House Oval Office press conferences. And Brian Glenn, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, is the one during that Zelensky blow up with JD, was the one that says, "Why don't you wear a suit?" Remember that? And then when Zelensky was back, they had an exchange about it again. So President Trump always gives Brian Glenn, next to Ducey, more questions than anyone. And let's see if President Trump stops going to Brian Glenn. I don't know if that's a good measure, but it's all I got right now. So I'll see if in the next, yeah.
It'd be a good indicator for sure. Because he does like that, Brian. I like him. He's a good reporter.
Oh, yeah.
He's very good, but I did not know he was with MTG.
He left his wife for her, and she left her husband for him.
Crazy. But no matter what happens, Brian, shows like you and We the People are sticking with Trump. There's nothing they can say to change us, and I believe that the press is going to use this. Mega's divided.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, I gotta run, but I appreciate the call. All right, let's see here. I'm trying to take these in the order in which they were received. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's John from Diego.
Okay, John.
Hey, I just wanted to say that Marjorie Taylor Greene's acting real weird today, isn't she?
Yeah?
Yeah, I would say she's acting weird. You know, Matt Gaetz, and now she's not defending it.
Yeah, I don't know why. Why do you use a different name than when you called a few minutes ago? I mean, I don't understand that. Just say who you are. I mean, you know, I got to tell you, I give more leeway to callers on this show than I think some of these weirdos appreciate. I don't have to take any of your calls, and I can stop any of you from calling in. There are people that are permanently banned from this program. You can count on one hand because it doesn't happen often, and some of them are no longer with us. But you don't get a permanent ban very much. I let pretty much everything fly. Almost. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
And I'm calling from Virginia.
Uh-huh.
Hey, why don't you want to hear Steve Files?
Why is there smile in your voice? Who would talk about something like that and laugh at the same time? Oh, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Good morning. This is Joe from New Jersey.
Hey, Joe.
I just want to say God bless you. Keep doing a great job. I've been following you for a couple of years every morning. I don't always call in, but it's been a while that I called in, and I wanted to tell you that I like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I like Laura Loomer, but I think Loomer's off, and I don't know what the personal problem is.
Why? Yesterday, Marjorie Taylor Greene was associating with Gloria Allred, whose law firm and her daughter were working with Trump accusers. And so, I mean, in those signs, Marjorie Taylor Greene's got some apologizing to do. Not to me, not to you, but to the president.
I think President Trump has some apologizing to do to constituents.
For what?
Doesn't need their support if they want to know about the Epstein.
What does he need? What are you talking about?
He said if anybody wants to bother about the Epstein case, he doesn't want their support. Talking to MAGA.
I didn't hear him say that, but I'm not. Hold on a second. Hold on. Slow down a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Slow down. You've given up your family and your job for President Trump. Tell me about that.
Thanksgivings are never the same. Ever since I became a Trump fan, my family hates Trump. So how many Americans have had to deal with that?
Wait, and you lost your job? And you lost your job too? You lost your job? You're on
I haven't, but other people have. I didn't lose my job because of Donald Trump, but other people.
There's another possibility. Maybe your family never liked you, and they just use that as an excuse.
That's great.
I've got it. My family, I didn't hear a no. That's not the case. You didn't deny it.
Go for it.
Oh, it sounds like I hit a nerve, but I'll tell you this, okay? My entire family is MAGA, which shocks me. I run into people in my, well, hold on. I run into people in my family that are like cousins and stuff that I haven't seen like in 20 years. I got brothers and sisters I haven't seen in 30, and I find out they're MAGA. Except one. Okay, I got my one of my I have three brother-in-laws. One of my brother-in-laws is a Rachel Maddow disciple. Okay, and I don't see him too much, but I'll see him at Thanksgiving. So, you know what I do? We don't talk about politics at Thanksgiving. We catch up on family. Why are you sitting around on what? No, you say, why are you sitting around talking about politics, causing trouble at Thanksgiving?
Problem.
No, you said you lost your family because of Thanksgiving.
We have many holidays that have been ruined because of my support for Trump, and they hate Trump.
Well, then why would you mess up? That's your fault. Why would you go to a family event where you know they're liberal jerks and then start getting into all of the politics? That's what the liberals want to do. They want to divide families.
we both try very hard not to bring it up, but it always eventually comes up. We just try not to argue and fight over it because it's.
You know, because of my profession, when I'm out and about, people, sometimes friends, sometimes family, sometimes listeners, always try to get me involved in a political discussion all the time. Okay? No matter where I'm at. I could be at the grocery store and someone will come up to me and start talking to me about politics. And, you know, I really don't like to talk about politics 24 hours a day. I need to get a break, you know what I mean? So you know what I do? I don't engage. I say, yeah, or I pivot. You know, it's like if someone's a doctor, right? You know, I have friends that are doctors. I don't ask them about medical things when I'm socializing with them. That's work. They want a break. You know, so, you know, if you've got a problem with your family, it sounds to me like you're the one that's causing the family division, not President Trump.
That's hilarious. That is so.
But not once have you denied it. You just laugh and say, "You're a funny guy. That's funny." Yeah, and I can sense in the tone that you're not a nice guy. You've been arrested. Shocker. You've been arrested. There you go. So you're a convict.
No, I'm not a convict. I'm not a.
What were you arrested for? For
Donald Trump.
Oh, please. Okay. So you've been arrested for Trump. You know, listen. If you have family problems, it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. No. If I go to Thanksgiving dinner and get into an argument with my one brother-in-law who's a liberal when the whole family's MAGA, is that Trump's fault?
Trump's fault.
Yeah, it's yeah. So why are you blaming Trump?
It's not that I'm blaming Trump.
Yeah, you did.
The statement for making it.
All right. Listen, I'm late for the break. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
On the line, we have Bruce. Bruce is a client of Jupiter Joe Thomas. He heard me talking with Joe Thomas about annuities and what a great deal they are. And he went in with his wife, and now he's a client. Hey, Bruce, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Brian.
So tell me about your experience with Jupiter Joe Thomas.
A fine gentleman. We sat down with Joe, and we explained everything to him, and we brought all our information, and he worked everything out great.
The cool thing about annuities is your money's never at risk. You're guaranteed a revenue stream for the rest of your life, but there's a
oh my goodness,
really a signing bonus where you can make.
If you're on hold, hang in there.
Money before you even leave Joe Thomas's office. Can you talk a little bit about that, Bruce?
Well, that's where I was surprised when we sat down. We talked about the bonuses, and to my amazement, it was 10%, and there was even another one that's bigger.
Wow, that's amazing. So you made 10% on your money before you even got back in your car.
Yeah, it was more than that, but it was great.
Listen, guys, do what Bruce did. Give Jupiter Joe Thomas a call. You can set up a free consultation either on the phone or in the office, and Joe Thomas will put together a custom proposal just for you. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online at jupiterjoe.com. All right, Bruce, thanks so much.
All right, thank you, Brian.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious, crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside, everything homemade, nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road. This is Steve Kane. Medicare can be confusing. That's why each year at this time, we call Debbie at Iowa Advisors to guide us through every plan, every choice, and every call. Open enrollment is coming up really soon. Some plans are being canceled. Others pulling out of the Medicare market at the end of 2025. Call Debbie. She represents all the major national companies. The number 954-753-8080. That's 954-753-8080. Tell her Steve Kane sent you.
When you need lab work, don't waste hours.
Yeah, this new mic is working good. This new mic I'm using here for YouTube, working pretty good.
The prices are guaranteed to be the
I'm looking at the levels on it.
no appointment, doctor's order, or prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor can order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your health care and visit Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on.
All righty, callers on hold, stand by. There's only one opening on the board at 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Yes, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Vicky from Virginia.
Hey, Vicky.
Brian, I don't know if you remember that Marjorie Taylor Greene did an interview with Megyn Kelly, and she told Megyn Kelly that Trump never helped her get elected to the House of Representatives. So was it a fake loyalty that when she got there, she decided to jump on the Trump train? Who knows?
Yeah.
And about those victims, the Epstein victims, if they decide to name names, they will have to submit proof or get sued for slander. There's no proof. They can name names.
Mm-hmm.
Word against whoever it is, and if that person decides to say no.
No, but you have multiple witnesses from different years. I promise you, their names a lot of them would corroborate one another's sworn testimony.
Now they're accusing that they named a John Doe. He did so and so. They will have to show proof.
I don't know. Listen, how often do women show proof when they accuse someone of sexual assault? Not very often. It's always he said, she said, and remember what the liberals say: her truth is her truth, and never me too, and don't question her truth, and all this stuff. So no, you in assault cases, rarely is there evidence. Sometimes there is, but rarely.
It's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, I mean, those women, a lot of those women were barely functional yesterday because of the trauma. I get it. I mean, I believe them. I don't think the women were lying. I'm not questioning the accusers yesterday, but they did clear Trump. They cleared President Clinton. All of them did.
All right. Well, that's why President Trump is trying to go.
See, here's the thing. Marjorie Taylor Greene said in the press conference that if they would give her the names, she would go into the Congress and read the names on the floor of Congress. When Congress makes the laws, and Congress makes the laws to make themselves above standards that others would have to adhere to. And one of the things that Congress, if you're a member of Congress, the House or the Senate, and you're on the floor of Congress, speaking on the floor of Congress, you cannot slander someone. You can accuse anyone of anything, and you cannot be sued for slander. So if they gave Marjorie Taylor Greene names in private, and she went and read them on the floor of Congress, nothing could be done. So why didn't they do that? Why don't they do that? Their lawyers said they're not going to put together a list.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. That's just like with the case with Trump and E. Jean Carroll. Now Trump is going back to the Supreme Court because, pretty much what she did, she's Trump of something that he didn't do, and then at the same time.
Yeah, but it's not just that she did not only not have evidence because there was never an incident. She couldn't even say what year it happened in, remember? Or even the decade. So there's no way to mount a defense. No, this is a different situation than these victims. They know exactly when things happened, and I'm starting to wonder if there's really not that many names. that most of the abuse was done by Maxwell and Epstein personally. And there wasn't this wide network of, we know Prince Andrew, right? But there wasn't maybe there wasn't as many perpetrators as the legend has created.
Right, and their primary accuser is dead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. If they gave her in private a list, dropped it on the floor, and Marjorie Taylor Greene found it in the garbage and picked it up and read the names on the floor of Congress, there'd be no lawsuits. You can't slander if you're a member of Congress speaking on the floor of Congress. And that's not happening. So. All right, appreciate the call. All right, take care. Good to hear from you, from Virginia. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. You know, before I found Friendly Tire, and here we are in rainy season. It rains every day in Florida now. I would drive around on tires that I shouldn't have been driving around on, because tires can be expensive if you get them from somewhere other than Friendly Tire. And since I found Friendly Tire, all my tires have great tread on them. He has all the name brands you know and love. You can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. And remember, out the door and on the road, what that means is the price that Friendly might quote you over the phone is the price, the final price. He doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or even dispose of your old tires. And by the way, as low as $75 a tire on new tires, that's on a common tire, common sizes on some of the most popular and common vehicles on the road today. His number is 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Give him a call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Scott. I'm calling from Kansas City.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, I don't know all the details. I'm vaguely familiar with what you're talking about with the MTG and Madeline or
Loomer. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Anyhow, what I heard, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it, and I don't know if you brought it up, but I'm going to bring it up. I had heard that MTG wanted to break into the Senate, yet Trump supported
correct
the candidate.
That's what Loomer's saying. Loomer's saying she couldn't get Trump's endorsement for the Senate or the governor race, so she's ticked. Yeah, she wants out of the House. She wanted in the Senate, and Trump won't endorse her because he probably doesn't think she's electable statewide. I only have about 10 seconds, so I'll give you the last word.
Well, it seems like she's got the personality to, want to vengeance.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, Kansas City, take care. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break.
WQAM 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WFLM 104.7 HD3 Palm Beach Shores, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. We are South Florida's home for the True Oldies channel. Now, here's the True Oldies weather forecast.
Today, showers are likely with thunderstorms with a high of 85 degrees. Into the evening, a low of 79 degrees, and thunderstorms are likely. On Friday, thunderstorms likely again with a high of 85 degrees. And then Friday night, a chance of thunderstorms with a low of 79 degrees.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
On Congress Avenue north of Pontiac Lakes Boulevard, you'll find an accident. Military Trail at 10th Avenue north, you'll find construction. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line down to 50 westbound traffic on Rodney.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. This weekend is a great time to visit PBKC with poker, table games, and super OTB action. Watch and wager on the last weekend of racing from Saratoga. Spend your Labor Day in the paddock to catch all the OTB and sports action with over 140 HD TVs, big screens, delicious food, full bar, and friendly service. It also features feast and football every NFL Sunday and amazing dinner shows and comedy. Visit pbkennelclub.com for more info.
Ryan Gordon here. When it comes time to get my blood work done, I don't have time to spend hours in the doctor's office or waiting hours for one of those big lines. That's why having any lab test now available at any lab test
All right. If you're on hold, hang in there.
Hear ye, Tom Laporta here from Laporta Roofing. Floridians, take note. Ron DeSantis and the state of Florida have allocated $280 million for the 25-26 fiscal year to fund new grants under My Safe Florida Home program. This grant is up to $10,000 when you spend $15,000 or more on your project. This may include roofing and wind mitigation systems. Go online at mysafefloridahome.com and get approved before the money is gone. If you need help, please call me, Tom Laporta, 954-604-4602, or find us at laportaroofing.com. It's simple. When you spend $1, the state matches $2 up to $10,000. They send you a check. I know it sounds too good to be true, but it is. So again, call us at 954-604-4602 or find us at laportaroofing.com.
This is Dr. Philip Appleton. You guys have been hearing me on the radio for years, and everybody knows whoever comes to my office, I care about you 100%. We are treating auto accidents. In an auto accident, there's a lot of things that occur in an accident. Anywhere from headaches, neck pain, shoulder pain, arm pain, elbow pain, wrist pain, knee pain, elbow pain, sciatica. People use the word whiplash all the time. That's it for neck pain. Come in for an evaluation. Let me look at you. Let me evaluate you. And then we can go from there. Auto accidents, Uber, and Lyft accidents, we do take care of. And also slip and falls. So if you have any issues, give me a call or come into my office. There's always no cost for the consultation.
Call Dr. Appleton and take advantage of that no-charge consultation right now. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Online, AppletonCairo.com, and say bye-bye to your pain.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian.
All right, let me just recap what we were talking about in the last hour. We'll take some calls, but there are other things I'm going to get into. We're not going to talk about this for the whole show. We were talking about the victims press conference, the Epstein victims press conference yesterday, which was obviously a big show to try to wound Trump. And we're talking about the betrayal of Marjorie Taylor Greene. All right, let's take some calls. But there's a lot of other topics I'm going to cover today. This is only one of them. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Tim from Lake Worth.
Hey, Tim, what's up?
Hey, I just wanted to say that I do agree with you about Marjorie. I was with you for the longest time that I believe that she was MAGA. But now I'm seeing that she is just about the clicks. She is on President Trump's coattails, riding them. And, you know, I told you once before when I talked to you that I have no faith in Congress or the Senate whatsoever. None of them. Jim Jordan, Ted Cruz, they're all loud mouths. They all get excited just to put on a show. Marjorie Taylor Greene's the same way.
Yeah, and they never do anything. Like Comer. Remember Comer had the bank accounts in Cyprus that Biden had the $10 million deposited in? What happened to that, Comer? You're right. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's all a show. Now, one second here. Here's my problem with this whole thing yesterday. I can't even imagine what it's like to be abused. I was never abused. I can't imagine. I feel for these women. They're being exploited, and it's sad. They have. I understand going in front of Congress to stand up for women's rights, but you don't go in front of Congress. And I'm not blaming the women. It's Congress that did this. We have so many problems with this country and with this world. We need to stay focused on that. We can't worry. You can't go in front of Congress to plead your case. You go in front of Congress to like stand up for rights and things like that. The Congress dragged them in just to slow down the process.
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, you're right about Congress, and in many ways, these women are being victimized again in a different way. They're being exploited. Attorneys like it because, you know what attorneys like more than anything? They like to be on TV because then people want to hire them. It's like free advertising, so they're being victimized in a different way, but they're still being used.
That's it. That's what this is all about. This is all about Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace. And, just for a second here, Nancy Mace should be ashamed of herself. She made a total fool of herself coming out of that room. You know what? If she was abused, which I'm not saying she wasn't, but if she was, she could have stayed in that room, and people could have comforted her if it got to her and all that.
And there were other ways for her to leave too, not through the press.
Yes, thank you. It was all show yesterday. The whole
and the thing with Nancy Mace, I was talking about this yesterday. It looked to me like obviously it was fake. She was faking it. It looked like to me she didn't wear makeup that day and took the palm of her hand and rubbed her nose really hard to make it red as she walked through the press. It was, she's a strange woman.
Yep, it's sad. And I just want to say something to the MAGA people out there. Stay focused.
Yes.
Stop it.
Yes.
Epstein shit.
Oh, okay. All right. First dump of the day. I understand the passion. If you're on hold, stand by. He's right about Congress, and it's worth. Here's the thing: have any of you been in sales? Any of you work in sales or have ever worked in sales in your life? It's a high pressure thing. If you're a car salesman, can you imagine what it's like? You work at Rooms to Go or any type of sales. There's a lot of pressure, right? That's what it's like to be in the House of Representatives for a lot of people because they're constantly running for re-election. Okay? Since they're all up every 2 years, they're under major pressure to get reelected. And so a lot of people in the House of both houses, but mostly the House of Representatives, in the House of Representatives, they pull a lot of stunts for attention because they need that attention because they never stop running. I saw Madison Cawthorn, by the way, is going to run in Florida. Is it Matt Gaetz's district, or what district is he talking about running in? I got to look it up. I got a story on that. I might reach out to him. Madison Cawthorn running for Congress here in Florida. Might have him on the show. But that's why you get a lot of showboating in the House of Representatives. All right, the delay is re-engaged. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Joe. What's up?
Good morning. I just got 2 points. I think it's a different perspective. I think this is a long game that Trump's been playing, like, oh, don't put out the Epstein list. There's nothing there, knowing that it's going to cause both sides to go crazy. And in the long term, it's bringing it out anyway, and it's going to really bring out the people that are in the politicians, the bankers, the people in deep state, and a lot of people in the spy agencies. And I think that's a thing that nobody's talking about, that it's way deeper with the chess moves, that he plays it no and then yes, and then it goes back and forth, and it still comes out, and more comes out, and more comes out, and he doesn't have he has plausible deniability.
No, I'm going to disagree with all of that. Like yesterday, this President Trump had a state visit with the president of Poland. And the press conference with that Marjorie Taylor Greene staged with Massey took that out of the news. Everyone was covering the press conference. You know, if you watched the press conference, you heard those planes flying over while the ladies were speaking. Those were fighter jets that were putting on a show over the White House in honor of the Polish president. You know, and I don't think that Trump's running any game with Epstein. And I also don't understand why it's the job of the president of the United States to get involved with sexual assaults that happen with these women, in many cases 15, 20 years ago. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that we don't care. We want people that do such things to be brought to justice, but that's not his responsibility. Is he supposed to get involved in every sex assault in the country? And have all victims at the White House? Why should these victims come to the White House?
I do agree yesterday was a little much with the thing, with all the ladies being there, but it's a bigger play than just that. These people are global pedophiles, and it's a ring, and he has the way to do it is to make him have a cover for it without actually bringing these people out.
Mm-hmm.
Mossad's involved, our own CIA is involved. These are deep players. It's not just level pedophiles.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I gotta run, but you make some points. I don't agree with much of it, but you know, it looks like it's going to rain. It rains every day now. We're in hurricane season. They like to call it rainy season because it's hurricane season. And if you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you've got a leak in your roof, you want to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida, everywhere in between. And you know, when you get this is one thing you got to understand. When we get these storms, like we've had some rainstorms in the last week, I know some of those winds have had wind gusts that are tropical storm force. I know, I can tell because when it rains hard, I like to sit in my living room and look outside and I watch the palm trees in my front yard, and they're blowing like nobody's business. If you've got a loose shingle or tile on your roof, oh man, that's an entryway for the wind. And that wet spot on your ceiling means you've got a leak in your roof. Give Tom Laporta a call. This number rings directly to his cell phone, 954-604-4602. And I'm going to tell you, you're hearing a recorded commercial of Tom Laporta with that My Safe Florida program. We're approaching the end of the year. They're going to be running out of money. In fact, I got to remember today, we got to update the spots, Mike, because we're going to start running that commercial less because they're going to be running out of money. And soon we're going to pull it all together. So you hear that message, call Tom Laporta about that program now before they run out of money. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's Tom Laporta's cell phone. You can call or text him at that number. And also you can go to his website, laportaroofing.com. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Scott on the radio, reminding you that your favorite oldies are back on the air right after 10 a.m. this morning, right here on the True Oldies channel.
This is Steve Kane. Medicare can be confusing. That's why each year at this time we call Debbie and I will advisors to guide us through every plan, every course, and every call. Open enrollment is coming up really soon. Some plans are being canceled. Others pulling out of the Medicare market at the end of 2025. Call Debbie. She represents all the major national companies. The number 954
All righty, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Louise, the masked lady.
Oh, hey, Louise.
Yes. I just woke up, but I have to play the devil's advocate with these women that I saw. They're acting like little innocent damsels. Now, where were their families? What kind of girls were these? Street girls? What?
I don't know. One of them said she was 14 when it started. They didn't. I don't know. Nobody asked, and they didn't volunteer.
Come on. At 14, these girls could tell me a thing or two. Teach me a thing or two. Don't tell me they're innocent victims. Who told them to go with Ghislaine or whatever the heck her name?
Well, one of them, you know, the thing about Ghislaine Maxwell, whatever the heck her name is, one of the victims was talking about this yesterday. Is she's a master manipulator, and I could see that's what groomers are. They're master manipulators.
She get them from? From where? The street? Where?
There's lots of down and out, people, and you know, runaways.
You're telling me if they were street girls, they weren't turning tricks all along?
Well, even if that's true, I don't know what that means.
It means that they're not these innocent victims.
When you're underage, you're always a victim. You know, in fact, even if you think they're overage and they're not, they've still been victim. Like if they lie to you and say they're 25 and you find out they're underage, as a man, you're still done the crime.
But what I'm saying is, who told them to go with her?
I don't know the details on how each of them ended up where they ended up. I don't know.
If people believe this, I think, a bridge in Brooklyn that's for sale yet.
What do you mean? Oh, you don't think any of them are victims?
14 years old, you know.
That's a child. That is 14 is a baby.
You know, they could teach me what they know.
Okay, all right, okay. Oh my goodness, she's a weirdo. I know she is. The masked lady. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Tim from Lake Worth again.
Did you call today? It's one call per day, Tim. But you're new. I think what happened was are you the one that used some profanity and I had to dump it? No? Okay. All right. There was another caller that I did that. All right. Anyway, you're back on now, breaking the rules. But what's the purpose of calling back?
We were talking about Congress, and my.
Oh yeah, I had to take a break, or so we were done talking. Anyway, hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Okay, I just was done talking to you. I can't, you know. I vaguely even remember the call, even though it was only a few minutes ago. It was not that interesting. He's a good guy, don't get me wrong, but we can't bore the audience. Now, I am going to move on to some other topics, but you are welcome to call in on this throughout the day. President Trump has, yesterday, a big story dropped. He's about to save another blue city, okay? And I'm not talking about Chicago. I'm talking about New York City. And it came out of the White House yesterday, something that I'm sure I'm not the only one that suggested this, but I was suggesting this weeks and weeks ago. President Trump is considering offering Mayor Adams a job with the administration and Curtis Sliwa a job to get them both out of the mayor's race, and it'll just be Governor Cuomo. Now, first of all, it's so crazy to think, this is how important this race is. If you remember during the shutdown periods, when Governor Cuomo was the governor, he was competing with Trump. Remember, President Trump every afternoon had a very long press conference during the lockdown period with Fauci and all those people. And then Governor Cuomo started having the press conferences earlier in the day, like 10, 11 o'clock, and he would do 2.5 hour press conferences. Remember that? And there was a lot of, he was trying to make himself the president. And his arrogance led to his downfall. But remember that? And now it looks like Governor Cuomo and President Trump have partnered up to save New York City from Zohan. And Zohan is in a panic over this. He is in a panic. He had a press conference in the streets of New York yesterday where he took questions. And you could, I watched it, you could sense the panic in his face. You understand, he's a young guy. He's got rich parents. He's always gotten everything he's wanted in life. And this is the first time he's facing rejection and people saying no. So he did this press conference. You can see in the press conference that Zohan is freaked out, completely freaked out. Then he went on MSNBC last night with Lawrence O'Donnell, and he's reacting now. He's in a panic because his whole election strategy was based on that the other side was going to split the vote 3 ways, and President Trump has come out. He's going to offer Curtis Sliwa and Mayor Adams jobs. And what those jobs will be, I don't know. I mean, Mayor Adams has a law enforcement background. Maybe he'll offer him something that has to do with that. I don't know. Maybe he'll be the new deputy director of the FBI with Bonji. Who knows? But that's a brilliant idea. And the idea that Zohan is popular obviously is not, because the very thought that he's going to have to go on a one-on-one competition with Governor Cuomo has him in a panic. And I could see it in his face. And Zohan Mamdani, he has a very good poker face, but not now. He's scared, you could tell. And he's afraid. And if he loses this race, he knows it'll be over. He'll still be a millionaire and his family will still be rich, but he wants to be the mayor. And New York City, it is the president's hometown, so I get that. I'd want to save my hometown, too, from a lunatic communist trying to Islamify the city of New York. But he's helping all of these blue cities. He's talking about going into New Orleans, Chicago, all these places. He just saved the people of D.C. with the crime. Now he's going to save New York from themselves with this offer. And I hope that Mayor Adams and Curtis Sliwa take the job that they're offered by President Trump. Curtis Sliwa, you never know. You never know. But when I first heard this story, I thought, well, that's great. That's a great thing. Now we won't have the 3-way split. And then when I saw Zohan's press conference, that freaked him out. He was scared. So when I saw that Zohan is terrified, that let me know this was perfect. And I promise you the president saw at least some of that press conference, or it's been brought to his attention, and you could see how terrified he was. He didn't look as scared on Lawrence O'Donnell, but he had cleaned himself up. But when he was out on the street taking questions from reporters, this is a guy that doesn't want to take questions in an uncontrolled fashion. And he was taking, anybody. There was one guy who was yelling. The reasons I'm not playing it for you is, I just dropped my knife and went down my shirt. The reason I'm not playing it for you is because when he was taking questions, Zohan, from the media, there was a guy nearby that was yelling profanities. BS! When Zohan would answer, he'd say the whole word, the word, so I can't play it unless I put a bunch of bleeps in it. And I didn't have time to do that this morning. I could probably play some of it and hit the dump the first time, but I'm not going to play it. But that's why. And so he was out on the street taking questions from the media, which Zohan does not want to do, in an uncontrolled way. And he had a heckler. That's not what Zohan is used to. If you're on hold, stand by. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. I talk a lot about this free consultation, and every once in a while I have to remind you the value of that. You can take advantage of this free consultation if you're here local in South Florida, in person, in the office. But if you're out of town or out of state, you can take advantage of the no-charge consultation on Zoom or over the phone as well. And I like from time to time just to explain to you the value of a free phone consultation or an in-person consultation for free with Jupiter Joe Thomas. He's been in the retirement planning industry for over 30 years. But listen to this. He's a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by less than 1% of all financial advisors in the world. So you got a top man in the industry who's offering you a free consultation. And not just that, not only do you get the free consultation in person, on the phone, on Zoom, however you want to do it, but you also get a custom proposal and plan after that consultation that's customized to you for your situation, your needs, your goals, your situation by Joe Thomas as well. That's a lot of value in that. Give him a call. Take advantage of that. His number 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website. It's easy to remember, JupiterJoe.com, and you'll find the number right there, JupiterJoe.com. All right, we'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Scott on the radio reminding you that your favorite oldies are back on the air.
Listen,
Mhm.
it was the same guy that first.
What's that?
It was the same guy.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
It was 100%. I went back and listened, same name, same.
Yeah.
Well, I never curse.
In my life. He said in his life.
His life. Never curse in his life.
Other than when he did a few minutes ago.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's a great time to visit PBKC with poker, table games, and super OTB action. The fall show season in the paddock has something for everyone. When the Reaction Band presents Motown Memories on October 3rd, Rat Pack Now, Rat Pack Tribute on October 17th, and Beer for My Horses Toby Keith Tribute on November 8th. The poker room is open daily for cash games, tournaments, amazing promotions, and easy-to-play table games. PBKC is where winners play. For more info, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Set sail with Margaritaville at sea and get into an island state of mind. Right now, enjoy 50% off fares, third and fourth guests sail free, and for a limited time, snag a $1 stateroom upgrade. Whether you're chasing bucket list destinations or just escaping to the open sea, Margaritaville at sea is the best way to sail into paradise. Book it today at margaritavilleatsea.com.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Baltimore. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, loss of balance, muscle twitching, and all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
Hey, Brian Craig here. You hear me talk with attorney Barry Siegel every day about how we can help you and your family. Now here's one of our listeners, Frances, sharing her experience of how attorney Barry Siegel made a difference in her life and took a weight off her shoulders.
I was really looking for something to help me secure my holdings, which is actually not a whole bunch. It is bank account, savings, and a house and a car for my two daughters. I was worried that if I had just a regular will, things would get tied up and probate, and that would take 2 years. So I heard on the radio about Barry Siegel, the attorney. I gave them a call, and immediately they were so kind. They were so nice. They assured me that they could help. I went over there, and they sat with me, and we went over everything, and I ended up with this wonderful trust for my two daughters. So if something happened to me, things just turn over to them, and it'll make it so much easier for them. And it took a great load off of my mind as to how I would take care of my two daughters. I was very pleased with the attorney Barry Siegel. Finding him helped me assure that my two daughters will be well taken care of in the event that I won't be here.
Give attorney Barry Siegel a call right now. Toll free 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Celebrating 49 years.
All right, we are back. 32 minutes after the hour. It is Thursday already. I can't believe tomorrow will be Friday. I saw this clip online. This is a police chief in Canada. Have any of you seen this? This is crazy. Oh, okay, here we go. This is a police chief in Canada. I've never heard anything so insanely stupid in my life. Listen.
In the unlikely event that you find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into their own hands. While we don't want homeowners to feel powerless, we urge you to call 911 and do everything you can to keep yourself and loved ones safe until police arrive and be the best witness possible. This could mean locking yourself in a room away from the perpetrators, hiding, fleeing the home, but don't engage unless absolutely necessary. But as it stands, we know the best defense for most people is to comply, as you've just heard, a number of safety recommendations.
Okay, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Now, he's talking about a home invasion. I'll tell you why it's dumb, but if you're out and about, like say you're in a store and it gets held up, or you get mugged in a parking lot, right? If you're in a parking lot and they come up to you and want to take your wallet, you give it to them. That's the best course of action, right? You don't want to get into a fight with them in a parking lot, right? Or in a retail store if they're holding the joint up, you don't want to fight them there. But when I was in high school and I worked at Publix in Fort Lauderdale, the Publix on Davie Boulevard, sometimes that place would get robbed. Sometimes I remember they would rob cashiers. This was the 80s, so people paid with cash more often than they do now. So there was a lot of cash in these registers. They would rob the cashiers and they'd wait in line and give me the money, And I remember one time a guy went up to the customer service area, and he had a gun in his pants, a .38. And he just showed him the gun, and they emptied the cash register out. And what they didn't know is just a couple feet away, the manager was counting the till for the day. He had like $50,000. This is like in '88. The manager had $50,000 he was counting out. The guy missed the 50 grand. In those situations, you comply. But this Canadian police chief said, when they're in your home, So a home invasion, comply? That's your best bet? Now, what if they want to have sex with your wife or your daughter? What, are you supposed to comply with that too, Chief? And the stupidity of this, if someone, most people that are burglars don't want to break into a house where there's people home. Okay? They don't. Unless they're looking to kill someone or sexually assault someone. Okay? And what this police chief did in Canada, that is as dumb gets. He just told all the crooks of Canada, break into houses. Because we've told people not to resist. So when you break into someone's house in Canada, they're told to do whatever it is you want to do with them. Sex with their wife, steal their stuff, the combination to their safe if they got one, the keys to their car. They're told to comply and give you whatever you want. Police chief just said that in Canada. Oh my goodness. We are so lucky to be in the United States and not Canada. Now, I saw a story this morning out of England. I mean, if they're in your house, if they break into your house in your home, okay, assume you're going to be, they don't want witnesses. There's no way. No way. If they're in the house, that's, no, you don't comply. You don't comply. You can't, because they don't want to leave witnesses behind. Now, I saw a story today. This was out of England. There was actually, I remember years ago, I'm sure I've mentioned this many times, I can't remember, but there was, they have total gun control in Canada. And there was a guy in Canada, he was a victim of a home invasion, and he had a gun, and he shot the home invader. Who got arrested? The homeowner got arrested because he shot the home invader. The guy he shot went to the hospital, but he didn't get arrested or charged. I couldn't believe it. When I first saw that story, I was like, this can't be real, and it is. I got a call from a guy from Australia who was listening. He said, oh, yeah, that's real. But I saw a story out of England this morning, and there's a wave of roundups going on in England right now. There's a comedian who was arrested for some jokes. I guess they were trans jokes. I'm not sure, And there's been people that have been getting in trouble with the police in England for flying the Union Jack. The British flag, and this is why we had an American Revolution from these people. They've never had free speech or free expression in England, never. Canada either, okay? People think because they speak English and we speak English that it's like here. There is no country that has the freedoms we have, not even close to it. Just because Canada is kind of like an offshoot of the United States in so many ways. A lot of people that aren't American or Canadian can't even tell the difference in the accents unless they're French Canadian. I'm talking about English-speaking Canadians. I can tell a Canadian like that, about, stupid, some things they say. A Canadian accent stands out like a sore thumb pretty quickly. But if you're not an American native speaker, you may not pick up on it. But just because they're so much alike us in so many ways doesn't mean they're really like us at all when it comes down to core values. They don't have guns. They don't have free speech. And they're telling you not to defend yourself during a home invasion. That is the dumbest advice ever. This time of year is when I always, this is the time of year that I always check my, they tell you to check your smoke alarm. Certain times of the year, once a year, check the batteries in your smoke alarm. I check my guns and ammo every hurricane season because when we've had hurricanes where we didn't have power for a couple weeks, and you don't have power for 2 weeks, it gets really hairy. Gas was hard, hard to get. That's when you want to make sure you're prepared. And if anybody comes into my home, I'm assuming I'm done, or my family's done. And this is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. But then again, it's Canada, And I was watching a Canadian movie. It was a comedy, and a guy told a funny joke. It's a Canadian movie about a private detective. And he's investigating something or other, and people are coming after him for the things he's uncovering, and they're pulling guns on him. And throughout the movie, he's getting people pulling guns on him, and he's like, "Where are all you people getting guns? This is Canada. Where are all the guns coming from?" Well, it's a movie, but even with, I promise you, in Canada, where guns are illegal, the criminals that are doing a home invasion while you're home, they probably have a gun, and if they don't, they have a very deadly knife. Oh, my goodness. All right. Our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are calling from. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hello. Gabriel in Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah, I was covering Laura Loomer and Marjorie Greene, like them both, but I just want to reword something. I'm not going back on it, but I just want to reword something I said with women. What I should have said, what I'm saying is most women do not talk controversial. They don't bring up controversial, especially conspiracy stuff. I want to reword. I don't know if you agree, but that's what and case in point, Laura Loomer, Marjorie Greene, not all women are like them. And by the way, my opinion on that is Laura Loomer, or rather Marjorie Taylor Greene, doesn't like the competition. I think you've talked about she don't want that competition. Laura Loomer, once upon a time, I may have known her. She's a Jewish girl from North Miami Beach. I may have known her when I was down there a long time ago.
Well, really? What you know all the Jews of Miami Beach? Wow, how?
A lot of them. That's not a bad thing, right?
I doubt you know very many women.
Yeah, so would you agree that most women will not bring up controversial things?
No. But I would imagine most women probably avoid talking to you about controversial things, and probably, okay, there we go. Second dump of the day, and avoid talking to you about anything whatsoever. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Come on. He couldn't have a more witty comeback. And here's the thing. With a guy like that, with that cartoon voice, he knows what I'm all about. He's calling me. So what does he know? And I'm sure he and I, the voice is vaguely familiar. He's trying to sound less cartoonish than he has in the past, But he knows what I'm all about, and he knows how I'm going to talk to him. So why is he getting upset with me? If I was calling him at work, then he could be upset with me. I should be the one upset with him. Oh my goodness. Well, let's wait for the delay to build. I think we need extra time for the delay to build up after that one. Oh my goodness. I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and I've been talking about two things this week with them that are absolutely amazing. One of them is, I was talking about after Friday's show when my wife took my blood pressure, and my blood pressure not only was normal, it was lower than my normal. And I have taken my blood pressure over the years when I've gotten off the air. It is through the roof. In fact, my blood pressure has been so high when I've gotten off the air that under normal circumstances probably should go to the emergency room because it's so high. And because the shows, it can be stressful. Look what I got to deal with, right? That things like that. And when my wife wanted to take my blood pressure when I got off the air Friday, I said, no, I don't want it. It's going to be high. And then it's even going to go higher because you're going to freak me out. And, she's my wife. So I did it. And it was normal and below my normal. And it's because I've lost all this weight. It's absolutely amazing. And by the way, my blood pressure was low. I mean, it was normal, but lower than my normal. I had 5 shots of espresso during the show on Friday. 5 shots of espresso. And still my blood pressure was normal. It's because I lost all this weight. It's amazing. And I feel great. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. They can help you no matter where you're located in America. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.com. We'll be right back.
Hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Your home is your sanctuary. It's where you feel safe, relaxed, and protected. But what if something were to happen? What if your family was in danger? At Sloman's Home Security, we understand that you want to feel secure in your own home. That's why we're dedicated to providing top-notch security systems and services to keep you and your loved ones safe. From 24/7 monitoring to cameras and motion sensors, our state-of-the-art technology helps you stay ahead of potential threats. Rest easy knowing you're protected by Sloman's Home Security. Imagine coming home to everything just as you left it. Imagine knowing that your family is safe and secure thanks to Sloman's Home Security. Don't just imagine it, make it a reality. Visit Sloman's Home Security today here in Florida to schedule your free consultation and take the first step towards a safer, more secure tomorrow. Sloman's Home Security, protecting what matters most. Sloman's Home Security. Call 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050. Or visit our website at slomans.com. Don't wait. Get the peace of mind you deserve today.
Hey, my true oldies listeners, John Tesh here with some intelligence for your retirement this time. When you're looking for a retirement advisor, you don't trust and experience are 2 big qualities to look for. And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to give local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999. Or, even simpler, you can go to jupiterjoe.com. Mention my name, John Tesh. You'll receive a free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know-It-All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, go to JupiterJoe.com. That's JupiterJoe.com.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. So J.D. Vance and his wife, and by the way, why does she not dye her hair? Why does she have gray hair? She looks so much older than she is. And I don't know why she doesn't dye her hair. I don't know. It's a very unusual thing for a woman not to dye her hair. I don't know. But anyway, did you see these idiot trans activists shouting them down? This is nuts, okay? These people, they're so stupid. Listen to this. This is in Trending Politics. A small group of left-wing protesters heckled Vice President J.D. Vance and his gray-haired wife as they prayed for the victims of this Catholic school shooting. Now, they were not just left-wing protesters, they were trans activists who were yelling things at them and had signs they were holding up they were like about transgenderism. The shooter was trans. Aren't they aware of that? And it was just such a strange thing to me. Anyway, Vance, a practicing Catholic, traveled to the community on Wednesday. While there, he and his wife prayed outside the building, where transgender identifying gunmen opened fire at children while they attended a school-wide mass. 2 children, ages 8 and 10, were killed. 14 students and 3 staff members were injured, some of them seriously. As the Vance family met with victims and prayed outside the building, a small group of protesters showed up outside to heckle them. Many of them held up signs saying, "Hate won't make America great. Fascism won't save children," and there were some trans signs too. What a bunch of weirdos. I just don't I don't quite get that one. I mean, and first off, who's shouting things at a memorial where babies were killed? That's just, to me, is beyond imagination. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Oh, hey, hi, Brian. This is Adam from New York.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, hi, Doc. The MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene there, I never cared for her after she was back in Kevin McCarthy for House Speaker.
I think, didn't Trump tell her to? You know, see, something happened. Okay, if something happened, she was on the inside with the president, and then she wasn't. Right?
Trump, she would have been elected.
Well, there's a lot of people out there. We're in this phase, okay, of you hear like influencers are into these trends. Like I was reading an article today about podcasters that endorse Trump aren't even talking about politics anymore. And they've made this article makes this argument that, they're disillusioned with Trump. No, they were only supporting Trump because it was for clicks and views, right? And now they don't need, they're moving on to the next trend. Well, we have a similar thing with some politicians. A lot of politicians are like those influencers trying to get clicks on the newest trend that's out there. And Marjorie Taylor Greene obviously is not happy with President Trump and his team. She feels on the outs, but she's trying, like Massey, they're trying to ride this Epstein wave. See, when they had that Turning Point USA event in Tampa, some Republicans saw how many MAGA voters are really obsessed with the Epstein issue. So for people that are on the outs are not doing that well, they're like Massey, they're grabbing onto it for popularity and to trend and to be all over the news. You know, I mean that's what it is. You have they're like influencers, they're like, you know, TikTokers. They're out there trying to get on the latest trend to get attention, and it's infecting Congress now.
Well, if I was the president, I wouldn't ask. I would have her boyfriend ask any questions. I'd cut him off.
Well, I saw him in one of the press conferences this week. I cannot remember which one it was in the Oval Office. It was. I'm not sure if it was the day before yesterday. So they had a press. Oh, it was the. I think it was during the Space Force headquarters press, and I saw Brian Glenn. His eyes looked really puffy, like he'd been up partying the night before. You know, I mean, he
was like a nice guy and everything, but you know, this is getting serious. I mean, I would just, you know, try and if I was the president, I would just, you know, cut.
Well, do nice guys leave their wives for a married woman who's leaving her husband for a married man? I mean, if I did what Brian Glenn did, right? Would you guys say I was a nice guy? I don't think so.
She also left her husband.
Yeah, they were cheating on their spouses. Or at least they left their spouses for each other. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
All right, well, thanks for the call. Appreciate the call. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Ben from Pompano.
Hey, Ben, what's up?
Hey, I heard you earlier talk about the Canadians. I just want to say, you know, not too long ago in Nova Scotia, they forbid people from using the woods, like the actual woods, in hiking in Nova Scotia.
Really?
Worried about fire. They were worried about fire risk. And that goes into what you were saying about Canadians are. I've lost so much respect for them in the last 5 years because they've shown how permissive and how loving of government they are. It's like they can't function without it. Like freedom is too much for them to actually live normal lives. But
yeah, and this article I was talking about in England, okay, I pulled this up about England. Listen to this. Comedy writer arrested by armed police in London over trans jokes. A writer. Armed police. It's hard to believe they have police that are unarmed. I mean, what good is that? Could you imagine being an unarmed police officer and you get a call? Who? Gee whiz. But the armed police is like the SWAT team in England, right, in London. So they called in the armed police for some. It says here, award-winning Irish comedy writer Graham Lennon was arrested by heavily armed police arriving at Heathrow over social media posts that were critical of transgenderism. Are you kidding me? That's
30 arrests a day. Tommy Robinson talks about this. They have 30 arrests a day in England over social media posts. So they've gone full police state.
They do that in Canada. I remember when they had, a couple years ago, those truckers had that event. I forgot what that was for. Remember the Canadian truckers? Was that what that was for? I can't remember what that was for. The Canadian truckers. Well, yes, that's correct. They debanked them. And I saw Canadians, I saw videos on social media. Canadians would have visits from police at their front door of their house questioning them about posts in support of those truck drivers on Facebook and stuff. I couldn't believe it.
You know, Brian, there's a lot of Canadians that come down here. I was at my friend's condo, and he was staying. There were some snowbirds down here who were Canadian from, like, Toronto or whatever. And the trucker thing was going on, and we asked them about this. There were a bunch of young girls, and, like, they were, like, teachers. And we're like, so what do you think of the trucker convoy? And they're like, well, it's a little authoritarian, but I guess it is what it is. And that just it perfectly encapsulates Canadians. It's the same with the entire Anglosphere besides America. Trump is the only one standing between us. You know how they say if America goes, there's nowhere else to go? It's more like...
Well, I learned about... This seems extreme, and it is, but there was a documentary that Steve turned me on to many years ago. It was about a guy who was... he had a weird job. He built electric chairs and gas chambers in the United States for states to execute people in. And I know, and he was a Holocaust denier. And yeah, and he got he got put on trial for hate speech in Canada because he was a Holocaust. Now, I have no use for Holocaust deniers, but we don't arrest people and put them on trial for it in the United States. So, so people don't understand or appreciate all these American haters on the left. They don't know how good we got it. They have no idea.
Absolutely not. And I just saw this guy who I follow on X. He said he traveled through India and he's done a lot of third world. He's like, nothing will make you more conservative than traveling in the third world, because you will want to protect what America is with every fiber of your being. And that's exactly,
yeah.
I just in Australia, ever since COVID, the entire Anglosphere has kind of reviewed themselves for being like they weren't the people we thought they were.
No,
the only one, even though we didn't do it as well.
Yep. Yeah.
Still eventually said, no more.
All right, appreciate the call, Ben from Pompano. Take care. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Maria.
How you doing?
All right.
All right. I called the show to tell y'all, Marjorie Greene. I watched her yesterday, and I think it's disgusting. I think it's really disgusting. It makes me sick to the core that this woman that called herself one of us to go out there and spew that kind of mess. Now the victims, yes, I believe them, yes, but that have nothing to do with President Trump. This play what happened yesterday was all a Democrat plan. They planned this. They portrayed this as being something that's real when it's not. It's all a plan that the Democrat made in their head to go after President Trump on. And Marjorie Greene and whatever the other guy, Maxine or whatever his name is.
Massey.
Yeah. I don't care for him. I don't like him because I've been listening to him. And every time it's a vote, he always votes Democrats. What the hell is you? You don't care about America when you spew this kind of hate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Sick of it.
All right. Well, listen, we're up against the top. Thanks for the call. Oh, man. Our number, toll-free, 888-465-2631. And I know Marjorie Taylor Greene is feeling the pressure because I saw her take a picture of her with Brian at dinner last night, kissing him. Like, everything's okay. We're out having a good time. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. We'll be right back.
WQAM 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WFLM 104.7 HD3 Palm Beach Shores, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. We are South Florida's home for the True Oldies channel.
Hey, what's up? I am. Can you hear me? I'm at the station. Can you hear me? I wasn't here yesterday. Okay. Really? Hold on. Let me try on. All right. What about now? Can you hear me now? Okay. I'll put you on hold. I'll pick you up on the air in a minute. Hold on. That was the IOD traffic. Did you hear that? He said WIOD. I think it was the wrong traffic. He said at the end WIOD. I thought I heard. I think they played. I didn't hear the report, but I thought I heard WIOD at the end. Traffic reporters are drinkers. They're all drinkers. Yeah, they're all drinkers. So they're all they're always hungover. They don't drive. Hopefully.
That's ironic.
I knew one guy that was a traffic reporter. His wife used to take him because he couldn't drive because he had DUI. He couldn't drive to work, and his wife had to drop him off at work all the time. Yeah.
Steve Kane sent you.
I could have been wrong, but I thought that would. Yeah.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, the third hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve.
Morning.
Oh, man, it's a morning. I don't know how good it is.
To do with Canada, there was capital punishment.
It was the guy. It was.
One with Stacey Keach.
No. No. You get. This was a long time ago. It was a documentary about that strange man who built the electric chairs for the state prisons, and he also would construct gas chambers for states, and then he became a Holocaust denier, and then if I remember correctly, he got arrested in Canada for being a Holocaust denier, and he was put on trial for hate speech in Canada.
They're pretty bad in England about that.
Yeah, England, Canada, they just don't have freedom. They don't have. Correct. That's right. I cannot remember the name of the guy or the movie, but he made electric chairs.
On the tip of my tongue, and I just can't quite get it out.
Yeah, if anybody knows, give us a call and let us know. There's a lot of stuff going on. I didn't know if you had anything in particular or.
Yeah, no, you take the lead.
Well, there's a couple things. The least of the things, well, it's a big deal, that I mentioned earlier, but because this one will I've been here for 2 hours already. I'll forget this one. I'll forget this one. It'll be quick. Zohan Mamdani is terrified. For the first time, he sees a loss on the horizon for mayor of New York because of Donald Trump, and this was so good. Yeah. The White House dropped yesterday that President Trump is going to offer a job in the government to Mayor Adams and Curtis Sliwa. So so it'll be a one-on-one, two-man race, Zohan against Governor Cuomo. And I heard that yesterday, and I didn't think too much of it. And then this morning, before I came to the radio station, I saw online from the local news in New York City, Zohan had a press conference live in the streets of New York yesterday, and he looked terrified. He was responding to Trump. And it was all about Trump taking out Mayor Adams, that's somebody else, Mayor Adams and Sliwa out of the race, and it just being Governor Cuomo and him. And you could see it in his face. he was terrified. In fact, the local news in New York described it as that Zohan Mamdani had an emergency press conference. And you could see the fear in his face. He's like, his whole strategy was based on the opposition's vote split 3 ways, right? And you could see it on him. He was so it looks like Donald Trump may have saved New York from Zohan. And at least Zohan thinks he's going to lose now. So that's good. I mean, that's exciting news. And it's so strange that President Trump has joined forces with Governor Cuomo after everything they went through 5 years ago during the lockdowns. But that's good news because we can't lose New York to this guy. But the big story that everyone's talking about was Marjorie Taylor Greene's betrayal of the president yesterday with that press conference with Massey and the victims. They had a press conference in front of the Capitol building yesterday, and it was, who's that jerk Democrat, Ro Kahana? I don't know what ethnicity is that guy? Do you know? Is he Hawaiian? Oh, Indian. Okay. He's Indian. Okay. And he's a Democrat. But they had, so Marjorie Taylor Greene had a press conference with him, Thomas Massey, who's a snake jerk, and with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein in front of the Capitol building yesterday. And what Marjorie Taylor Greene did yesterday with that press conference was disgusting. It was Epstein victims. It was Jeffrey Epstein's victims. Okay? And the press conference had no purpose whatsoever. The victims came out and told some very vague things and cried a little bit. And I feel bad for these victims. They refuse to name names. They want President Trump to release the names, but they won't tell any names. Their own attorney said there's no list. The list is a myth. And that the girls will not get together and make a list of their own from their eyewitness accounts. But a couple things about this. One, which is very important, is the Epstein victims that had the press conference yesterday did an interview as a group with NBC News. And NBC News hates Trump like the plague. We know this, right? They hate Trump. And they asked a question that they got the answer they weren't expecting to get. So they have all the Epstein victims. And the reason you haven't seen this, the media don't want to show this to people. They want to suppress this, okay? But they had all the Epstein victims in a room, and they're being interviewed by this NBC reporter. And she says to them, did any of you see any type of misconduct by President Trump? All of them in unison said no. So they all cleared President Trump, all of them. Which, yeah, I know. That was great, right? It was in the NBC interview. And then she says, okay, what about former President Clinton? Did you see anything? And they all said no with President Clinton, too. So they cleared both President Trump and President Clinton of doing anything inappropriate sexually with them. So, but President Trump was cleared by the Epstein victims. I'm sorry, liberals. Totally cleared by the Epstein victims, okay? On NBC News.
They might have cleared the president, but they didn't clear Clinton. So
No, they did. No, they did clear Clinton, yes. First, she asked about President Trump, and they said no. And then she said, what about former President Clinton? Did any of you witness anything inappropriate from President Clinton? They said, no! All of them, same in unison. So they cleared both presidents. Both presidents. So President Clinton can stop going around with that defibrillator acting like he's going to have a heart attack, okay? Did you see him getting off the plane with the defibrillator, President Clinton? Oh, my goodness. Well, the victims said they didn't. The victims cleared him.
This incident by itself would indicate that, but there's a lot of indications that he was on the island and that he was involved, in spite of your story, which would seem to...
Yeah. But anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene has really stepped in it, okay? She's pissed at Trump. She's very upset with President Trump, and she really did some things yesterday that were inappropriate. And she wants to run for the Senate, and Trump won't endorse her. He's endorsing somebody else for the Senate race because he probably thinks she can't win the statewide race, right? And and she's going on a revenge tour. And she did a couple of things that were very inappropriate. One, during the press conference, which Marjorie Taylor Greene had complete control at that press conference. In fact, there was one reporter who kept asking questions over and over and wouldn't give anyone else a chance. And Marjorie Taylor Greene called security, says, remove him, get him out of here. And they removed him. So Marjorie Taylor Greene had complete control over that entire press conference. Even though it looked like Massey was running the show, it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she got a reporter removed by security. When Marjorie Taylor Greene, during this entire victim's press conference, she didn't stand with the victim. She stood off to the side on stage right. And behind her were fake paid protesters holding up signs calling Trump a pedo and all this stuff, standing behind her the whole time.
Protesters are fake.
Yeah, they're all paid. But Marjorie Taylor Greene made the decision to stand in front of those people. And all the news accounts, every photograph, every video is with those people right behind her in the thing. And Laura Loomer, she said, I'm going to make sure that the president sees this picture personally. Okay, so she's got some explaining to do, Marjorie Taylor Greene, with that. But the other thing, Gloria Allred was there, who I didn't even know Gloria Allred was still alive. And this is another problem with another betrayal of Marjorie Taylor Greene, because, Gloria Allred is kind of just like the front person with that law firm. The law firm's really run by her daughter, Lisa Bloom, right? Gloria Allred's daughter. And so Marjorie Taylor Greene's hanging out with Gloria Allred yesterday, with these Epstein victims. And Gloria Allred's daughter was representing fake Trump accusers, if you remember, during the campaign. Remember that? A Jane Doe number, whatever. So, what's Marjorie Taylor Greene doing here? I mean, this is a major betrayal of us all, including the president. She's one of our most high-profile MAGA Congress people, and what she did yesterday was disgusting. She's worse than Massey, to tell you the truth, because at least we know what he's all about, and she's still trying to parade around as MAGA. And I'm sorry, I was disgusted by her yesterday. But those I watched. I'm surprised you didn't see the press conference. The victims were so vague in their accounts of everything. There were no now they did, some of them looked very traumatized. Okay, I'm not saying they were lying, but they were asked by reporters, "Can you tell us names?" And their lawyer said there is no. They asked the lawyer if any of them were victimized by anyone that currently has a position in the government. What?
What?
Okay. What's your take?
My take is that these MAGA people get too much more attention than they deserve, and they're a distraction. And because the quote unquote MAGA people give them so much airtime and take up the airwaves with stories like this, we're playing into their hands.
Well, there is a wing of the MAGA movement that is obsessed with the Epstein stuff. I agree. I'm not. I mean, it's so long ago, and
of the MAGA movement, which is obsessed with a lot of crap, much more attention than they deserve.
Yeah, I agree with you about the Epstein stuff. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with your calls, and you're welcome to call in about anything we brought up so far today. And I've covered a lot in the last 2 hours and 15 minutes. But I want to take a moment to talk about coastal weight loss. I was talking about this in the last hour, Steve, and you have the same issue. If you take your blood pressure or my blood pressure right after the show, it's sky high, isn't it? I mean, when I get off the air, and I know you've had this issue too, Steve, with the blood pressure. When I get off the air, my blood pressure is so high that most people would go to the emergency room. Typically, it's been that way for years. But then a little while later, it goes down to normal, right? And on Friday's show, I had a really bad headache. I wasn't feeling well. And my wife got nervous that I was going to have a stroke or something. And she says, well, let's take your blood pressure. And I said, no, I just got off the air. It's going to be through the roof, which will freak me out, and then it's going to go higher. But anyway, it's my wife, so she got me to do it. Not only was my blood pressure normal, it was lower than my normal. And that's all because of all this weight I've lost at Coastal Weight Loss Secret. It's amazing. My blood pressure is the best that it has been in years. And for me to have normal blood pressure when I get off the air is unheard of. Unheard of. My weight loss results are typical with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Give them a call no matter where you're located. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlosssecret.com. We'll be right back.
Call this. To the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. You back with us, Steve? He didn't invent it. He did not invent the electric chair. He built them. They were electrocuting people back in the 1800s, weren't they? No. This.
Well, the story.
I'll look it up. If nobody in the audience figures it out, I'll Google it later, and I'll find out who it is. Now, one of our least favorite members of government is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz, you and I have befriended many people that have run against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and they've all sadly lost. but she may have been her match this time. You know, and one of the reasons she wins against all these people is she's got Cemetery Village South in her district. I'm going to tell you in a minute. You know, there's a large Jewish population in Century Village at that South, and she's got that locked up. And but I think she might have been her match. Okay. By the way, I saw this on Twitter. You know, listen to this. This is what it says on X. Okay. Debbie Wasserman Schultz's stocks, they say they're military stocks, I don't know, have skyrocketed 345% since she bought them. Wow, 345% increase on her investment. That's like Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I guess she's got the same financial advisor as Nancy Pelosi. But anyway, she's got a MAGA guy running against her. And there have been a lot of Republicans who have run against her, but this one is a billionaire with a B, a billionaire. And that means unlimited funds, okay? So there have been people that have run against her. There's never been a billionaire, right? And I don't even know if there's been a millionaire, in fact. Some of the people that have run against her, I've known them, and there were business owners and local people, and some other local office holders, but I didn't know of any of them to be like independently wealthy. But she's going up against a billionaire. I've never heard of him before, but I'll support anyone who's going up against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. His name is Michael Carbonara. And I don't. Yeah, I guess so. And he's described as a pro-Trump billionaire. That's all I know. I've only first heard of him today. But, I remember this may seem like a minor thing to a lot of people, but this just tells you how crazed she is. When Hobby Lobby said they were not going to take part in Obamacare, she was protesting Hobby Lobby in her own district. There was in her own district. Now, the district may have been redrawn since then. And this may not be in her district today as it was. This was like in 2010 to 2012, somewhere around there. So it's been a while. But on University Drive and 595 off of State Road 84, across from Costco, there was a Kmart there 100 years ago, and it closed down, and there was nothing there. And Hobby Lobby was opening up in the closed down strip center where Kmart used to be. And I remember Debbie Wasserman Schultz was leading a group of protesters in front of this location opposing Hobby Lobby, creating jobs for her constituents in her own district. And I thought, when you have a member of Congress protesting someone creating jobs for their constituents in their own district, you're dealing with a nutcase. And she's just a very bad person. And most Jews I know don't even like her, Steve, right? I mean, people just don't like her, but she's got them wrapped in Century Village. But going up against a billionaire, I think she may have been her match. So I'm excited about this. This may be the final term for Debbie. If this guy can't beat Debbie, no one can. And until Ron DeSantis redraws the districts, because if they're going to redraw the districts, that's got to be one. We got to get Century Village out of Debbie's district, because that's. But this. But here's the thing. Senior citizens that are retired, it's not a given that they're Democrat anymore. It used to be that way. And it used to be that way because of the retirees but the demo has changed for retirees. And, I think it's also changed with Jews. Republicans who are Jews used to be unusual. But it's not uncommon anymore. It's like black MAGA. Meeting a black Republican was a rare thing. It's not rare anymore. And the thing goes with Jews and it goes with senior citizens. So I don't think she's got the lock with the senior vote or the Jewish vote that she's gotten by on all these years.
It'd be nice to get out of Congress.
If a billionaire, it's like Elon Musk running against her. Nobody's as rich as Elon Musk, but if you're a billionaire, and this guy, they say he's a pro-Trump billionaire, that means he's got unlimited. He should be advertising on our radio station, Steve. I'll tell you that, because I'll make this guy. We should make him like a co-host every Friday. Yeah, I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, Debbie Wasserman Schultz is a terrible person. A terrible person. If I lived in her district, I'd be afraid to talk about her this way. But if a billionaire can't beat her, no one can. Right? I mean, because he can do unlimited advertising. He can have unlimited mailers. He can pay people to knock on every door in Century Village and tell them how, she's wrong for Israel. You know what I mean? You've got, Well, the thing about, and I've known a lot of people that have run against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, as have you, and there's been a lot of good people. But because it was a district that was seen as unbeatable, they never had the support of the party. They never had the money, right? The party didn't want to waste the money because she was viewed as unbeatable. But when you got a guy who's a billionaire with a B, he's got unlimited resources. He doesn't need the Republican Party money.
In the past, aren't that hip? They don't realize it. They're part of the establishment that we are fighting.
Yeah, exactly. No, she's very beatable. She's unlikable. And, that's it. All right, well, listen, if you're on hold, stand by. But that's some good news. I mean, if we really got a chance to get some, I would endorse Mickey Mouse over Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I mean, she's one of the worst plus she's one of our own South Florida people. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I want to tell people about Friendly Tire in Margate. Friendly Tire in Margate, you can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. And that's on common sizes on some of the most common vehicles on the road today, okay? As low as $75 a tire. And when I say out the door and on the road, what I mean by that is Friendly Tire, they don't charge you to mount the tire, balance the tire, or even dispose of your old tires. So it's out the door and on the road. Give them a call, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. He also has thousands of used tires in stock at even lower prices, and he also does tire repairs. All right, we'll be back right after this.
I thought I was late. Sorry.
No, there's no waiting.
He wants your attention.
What's going on? I forgot to hit a button. He was knocking on the window for me to hit a button. How you doing? Good. So you moved.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come over one day and do a video of the new office. Yeah, maybe I'll do that in a couple weeks.
Yeah, the new office is cool. What happened was they raised my rent in the other place. Every time you get somewhere, they raise your rent. So it went up 7%.
Oh my gosh.
And my office was here, a little tiny office, like half this.
Yeah.
Jenny's office was over there. I hired my other door.
Yeah.
We're busting out the seams. And it was like $40,000 a month already. You know, until like $3,300. So I bought a little small office condo off of Military Trail.
Oh, okay. I saw is it the one on your website? The picture on the website? Maybe you haven't updated it yet?
I don't know.
It looked nice. Okay.
I don't do that stuff.
Oh, okay. It looked nice. Yes, I'll come by and do a YouTube video one day. I'll go from here to there one day.
Great,
yeah.
In fact, we can do a live little thing or something too. Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do. It's fun.
Is there anything in particular you wanted to talk about? You had that new thing in September you were telling me about.
Yeah, it's up and running. So I was just going to talk about bonuses, but I was going to kind of tie it in. This is kind of interesting. I heard this on a radio show, and I like this.
Yeah.
And it's all about how's your retirement report card doing? Remember when you're little, you got a report card?
Yeah.
Well, now you're retired. What's your report card look? Are you getting an A, a B, a C? Well, how would you like to get an A+ right now?
Okay.
With a bonus annuity. Kind of thing.
Okay, that sounds good.
My show tonight's going to be on that.
Okay.
Yeah, later today.
Where is your number?
Yeah, by the way, I knew nothing was up with Trump and what's his name?
Oh, yeah, give me a break.
That's all. If
Give me a break.
4 years ago.
10 years ago.
Whatever. They would have been all over it, you know? Come on, man. You know? What's the guy that does the books, that writes the books over there? You know, with the glasses. Writes them in Palm. He said that Trump told the girl who ran Mar-a-Lago,
Yeah.
get him out of here.
Yes, that's right.
You know?
Patterson, James Patterson.
He was on a local show.
James Patterson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he told him, get him out of here.
Yeah, and Epstein's lawyer said a couple weeks ago that Epstein thought that Trump turned him into the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office. That's how he got arrested the first time. His lawyer said it about 2 weeks ago in an interview.
I played golf with one of the attorneys that prosecuted him.
Yeah.
He said there were so many deals for the money. There were so many.
Oh, were you down here during all that? Yeah.
Some of it.
Oh my God! It was every day. It was in the news. It was a big deal, and he tried to adopt one of his victims, to it was very strange.
So this guy was one of the prosecuting attorneys.
Yeah, here's a. It's a little smaller. I got a new mic.
That's cool.
Yeah, I just got these. It's, I know it's the same mic, but it's a little bit put up higher.
Wow. I gotta get.
You got to put it up higher.
Higher than that.
Yeah, put it up higher. But it's the same one before. It's just the updated version, smaller.
Cool.
Yeah, it's tiny. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. Jupiter Joe Thomas is in studio. How you doing, Joe?
Great.
Awesome. You know, you've been telling me about these bonus annuities, and there's even one that's better than what we talked about last time you were here. You're going to talk about, but you were talking about people that are retired already. How's the retirement going? How do they grade themselves on the retirement? The retirement report card, you called it.
Yeah, so we're doing a show tonight on our show, and it's going to be the retirement report card. And what are you getting? What's your grade now? And think about it. Are you going to give yourself an A, a B, a C? Well, how would you like to have an A plus? And I mean this sincerely. You can start out your retirement now, get an A plus on your report card before you even do anything.
And by that you mean, are you able to live like you thought you would?
Exactly. And what an annuity can do for you is give you a bonus up front, give you a guaranteed interest rate for the rest of your life, and pay yourself guaranteed, just like Social Security works.
Yeah.
And it's through a major insurance company.
The thing with the new, there is nothing that I've ever heard you say that is not, and I've researched annuities and everything since we've met. I can find nothing negative about them. But the main, I'd asked you a question a few months ago. I said, when you have somebody in who's a high net worth, a rich person, wealthy person, come in and get invested in annuities, because very wealthy people do invest in annuities, but you also get working class people. You were telling about a nice woman that retired that worked at Publix.
Yeah.
And what's the difference between a high net worth individual and what a middle class person wants when it comes to annuities? And you said the same thing, income.
Income. Most of them want income.
Income stream.
Look, I have a retired doctor who came in, lives in a very high-end golf resort community. And he said, I have to keep up with the Joneses. And guess what he wanted? Income.
Yeah.
And his net worth's about $7 million, but it's all the same for people. If you don't have a guaranteed income stream in your retirement, how do you live? You're in South Florida, man,
Well, you want to go out to dinner, you want to play golf, and people are living longer. So no matter what they plan, if they do it on their own, they can never plan to factor in all these. That's what you do, the inflation and all of this.
And also, it's just, you have a standard of living. And look, it's tough out there. Let's not fool one another. There's a lot of people, I just heard there's the have and the have-nots right now. Charles Payne was just doing an article on TV, and I was listening to him, and he's right. There are a lot of people that are suffering right now. I'm just saying, the inflation's a little crazy since Biden was in office, right? Things stay where they were.
Yeah.
And how do you afford that? Make your money work for you.
That's
Don't
right.
Have a savings account with $100,000 in it is doing nothing. Let it work.
That's
for
right.
You. Put it to work.
Yeah, I mean, if you have you have $100,000 or more, or you have that in a bank account. How much you make on that?
Nothing.
Nothing,
if
right?
If you're in a checking account or a savings account at a regular bank, they're giving you point something, 0.25, a point before your money, a decimal point before your money means you're losing money.
And you can have money coming to you every single month forever.
And start out with a bonus of 8, 10, 12, 14, 16%.
16%?
Up to 16%. Now, these have velvet handcuffs. They're going to tie your money up for a while, right? But there's limitations. But there's limitations and conditions with any financial product people just don't know about. We're going to disclose it to you.
See, what a lot of, and I've known people that have done this. They put their money in the bank account. They got a lot of money, but they're eating away at it. And next thing you know, they don't have much left, or they're down to half.
If you're not keeping up with taxes and inflation, you're minus.
Yeah.
You're minus 3 or 4% a year. And that's what people don't understand. You're losing the power of the dollar. You have to keep up with inflation.
Yeah. Now, listen, by the way, you got a new office?
Yes, sir. I'm in Jupiter.
So, new office in Jupiter. And when you get financial advice, you want to take financial advice from people that live in Jupiter. I tell this to people a lot. because it's, if you live down here, you know what I mean. And you're offering free consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are. The number's the same, though, even though it's a new office. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, jupiterjoe.com. What time's your show on tonight?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. So whatever radio station you're listening to right now, you can catch Jupiter Joe Thomas tonight at 6 p.m. All right, Joe. All right, take care. Don't leave with my clip on.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to leave with that.
I always got to grab you with the mic. All right. Steve Kane is back. Hey, Steve. Okay. Oh, my goodness. So things are going well, and you want to take some calls or... Okay, let's go. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air, caller. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, hey, IB. Well, you know what it is. I'll tell you, you know what it is. I'll tell you this, Steve. Everything they're doing is they know they're not going to get Trump in a scam. They're trying to slow Trump down so that he doesn't get his agenda through. Anything they can do, like what they want yesterday, what they wanted him to do was, yes, they wanted him to meet with these women at the White House. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, we all feel bad for sex assault victims, but is the president supposed to meet with all sex assault victims? What's that about? Well, but I want to tell you, this happened yesterday and today, okay? If you noticed, today, just like yesterday, where are all those creepy weirdos that keep calling me about Epstein all the time? None of them have called in. And the reason they haven't, you know why they haven't called in? Why do you think haven't they called in? No, they didn't. No, they haven't called in. Like the black guy on TV. That's a great response. You're black, right? No, I don't know who you're talking about. The black guy on TV. There's a lot of black guys on TV. Oh, Van Jones. No, the reason we're not hearing from them is different. And there's two reasons. But now, if you guys think about it. I've heard from so many creepy liberal callers over the last few months about Epstein. No matter what we're talking about, oh, you're avoiding it. Oh, why are you talking about this instead of the Epstein files? Seminar callers, number one, right? And I get the seminar callers, so that but the victims cleared President Trump. So now that the victims have said that Trump did nothing wrong, how are they going to call in and credibly say it? When I've got I haven't played it today. I've got it queued up. I got it here. I've been waiting for one of these creeps to play it for them to explain why they think Trump's involved when the victims are saying he's not. I'm telling you now because we're at the end of the show. They can't. That's right. Yes. Yes. That's right. It runs around for a while. Yes. Yep. No, you're right. Yeah. And these Epstein obsessed callers. Now, one of them is called today or yesterday. All right, IB. Take care. All right. Okay. All right, IB. No, they said Clinton didn't do it either. They cleared Clinton too. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's not going around with a defibrillator for nothing. He's trying to avoid testifying. Yeah. I mean, give me a break. Just like that mob boss in New York years ago that went around in the pajamas. All right. Was that Gambino that did that? Mm-hmm. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey. What? Slow down for a second here. Why are you laughing? Was that a joke? I didn't. Did you get that joke, Steve? I didn't get that joke. No.
Was mimicking Trump. He wanted Hillary Clinton's emails released. That was.
No one got it.
Okay, but here's what I called about. You believe the women yesterday, correct? And probably the reason you have to say you believe the women, when 80% of the country, which obviously takes in a good percentage of MAGA, want the files released. You can't say you don't believe them. On the other hand, you believe every word out of Trump's mouth. You tell us that all the time. And during their presser, Trump is saying the whole thing is a hoax. How can you have it both ways? How can you not look like a phony where on the one hand you believe the women, but you also always believe Trump, and yet he said it's a hoax.
The hoax he's talking about is not that the women have been victimized. He's not saying that they're lying about being victimized. What he's talking about is Massey and these politicians that are trying to make a thing out of this. That what they're doing is a hoax. Like, I give you an example. Okay, I'm going to answer your question. Okay, Massey, who's a Republican, right? Michael Knowles and a couple of others did some research. He never said the name Epstein until recently, because when he refused to support the big beautiful bill, President Trump said he's going to primary him out. And as soon as Trump started talking about primarying Massey, he started talking about Epstein. And I saw an interview with Massey yesterday, and I don't know. I saw an interview with. We'll take a break, and we'll talk during the break in a second, Mike. Okay, that's the board up I'm talking to, Mike. The board up. Massey, I saw a clip of an interview with him. He says, I have 3 opponents. One of them's in Epstein's book. Well, wait a minute. I saw the press conference yesterday, and the lawyer for the victim says there's no list. It does not exist. It's a myth. Okay, so what's he talking about? The hoax is what Massey is doing. He's trying to create a scandal where there is none to run on. That's what Trump's talking about, not the victims. How do you know his name's in there? If he hasn't released them, how do you know? You just made that up. No, I missed that. Did you see that, Steve? No, I didn't see that either. You must watch. What are you watching? MSNBC? There you go. That's the problem. No. What attorney general said that? What attorney general said Trump's? What attorney general said Trump's name's in the files? Did you see that? No. All over the news. Oh, okay. Yes. Because he said this. Why not give all the evidence? So police can go into homes without warrants. If you've got nothing to hide, who needs a warrant? President Trump's talked about this a couple weeks ago, and since you're so up to speed on the news, I know you saw it. he said that the Democrats had just been adding things to the files all the time, that they're not accurate, and to just release them. Well, no, he said it. President Trump, the President of the United States. The President of the United States. Yes. 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 Grocery prices are down. Yes. Yes. Oh, really? Eggs cost what they cost 7 months ago? I'll never have credibility with you. Hey, listen, I gotta run for a quick break, but thanks for the call. Never Trumper Steve. We'll be right back.
Hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on the Steve Kane Show.
Imagine coming home to everything just as you left it. Imagine knowing that your family is safe and secure thanks to Sloman's Home Security. Don't just imagine it, make it a reality. Contact Sloman's Home Security today, right here in Florida, to schedule your free consultation and take the first step towards a safer, more secure tomorrow. Sloman's Home Security, protecting what matters most. Sloman's Home Security. Call 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050.